Hey, what's going on, guys? Battle Nation's Emperor, back today with another video. And before we start today's video, guys, I just want to apologize and clear up something real quick. I just want to apologize and clarify for my recent disappearance. We had a good streak going on the channel. Unfortunately, was absent the past 2 days. Just got sick, nothing too crazy, small case of the flu. Wasn't bad, wasn't crazy, but my throat was raspy, my nose was stopped up. Didn't feel like recording videos, didn't feel like doing anything. Took off work, took off pretty much everything, canceled everything I had, and just pretty much slept for 2 days. But back now, back better than ever, and back to make some more Battle Nations content. And I got a good one for you today, guys. So originally this was going to be about boss strikes. We were going to jump right into boss strikes, but man, guys, there was like 20-something boss strikes, and they were interesting from start to finish, to say the least. Spoiler alert, I don't think any of this were really surprised by this, but they did get progressively worse and worse until the last few. It was kind of clear Z2 was kind of, weeding out, and, new Battle Nations was coming to an end. But then, nevertheless, we got a beautiful product at the end. Of course, boss strikes. But that will be a video either coming tomorrow or later on this week. But while studying for that video and while researching for that video in the wiki, I came across so many of the old planes and air units, and I was like, this could be another series. I mean, we all have some special connections, of course, to the animals, to some of the troops, of course, to the rebels, the Silver Wolves, some of the, various clans and units in Battle Nations. But one I think I can speak probably broadly for a lot of us, that all of us are very connected to, is the aerial units. These guys were pretty much just exclusive to the boss strikes, and if you had one, I mean, that was power. I mean, like, if you had a, airplane back in the day, that was what was cool. And I really hope when Battle Nation comes back, of course, we're going to have a brand new game. One of the elements I'm most excited to see come back, and what I hope is brought back, is the exclusivity of these planes, if you will. The factor of how special they felt. Because for better or for worse, all of these Battle Nation planes are awesome. So, of course, we're going to start off with some of the weaker ones and work our way up to the cooler ones. But, I mean, at the end of the day, of course, they were all freaking amazing. So, there is 38 total aircraft in the game. We're only going to be doing 38 in today's video. If you guys like this one, we can certainly do some more. If not, we can move on. We just got 5 introductory for today. Of course, those 5 are the 5 on screen right now, this little screensaver. And we will be starting off today with the very classic attack drone. Here are its stats. The stats ripped straight from the wiki. I'll also be including them down in the description below if anybody would like to see the stats for any of these planes for the wiki themselves. The profile pictures will be, or the profile links will be in the description down below. This is the stats for the attack drone, and let's get into a little some stats about him. First off, he is one of the weakest air units, only having 1 attack, and that being the guided missile. However, do not let that fool you. Despite being weak, quote-unquote, compared to the other air units on only having 1 attack, he is still extremely reliable early on and very useful, even all the way into late mid-game, because of just simply what he is. He is an air unit. He can basically jump in and help you in any. He can be support. He can be up front if you're only attacking units or enemies that can only attack ground units. Very reliable, and that 1 missile attack, it's not to be slept on. You can see the stats for it right here. 162 damage in the center, and then it splits off in 4 directions, north, south, east, and west, and does 40 damage to each siding tile. Very reliable attack. Based off an iconic military drone, we will have what all the aircraft are based off of. With this one, it's actually nothing specific. Every single other airplane, or at least for today's video, is based off a specific plane or specific air unit. Sorry, not air unit, off a specific aircraft in real life. But this is the only one where that's the exception. This one is literally just based off a universal air drone. So think of what the US uses, think of what most modern military uses. Just your standard military drone. This bad boy was included as a Tier 3 in Boss Strike 10. He was included as a Tier 7 in Boss Strike 12. And then finally, he was included as a Tier 3 in Boss Strike 18. He was recycled multiple times because, like I said, even though he's weak relatively compared to the other air units, he is still very reliable and a very good unit. So overall, great unit. We love you, attack drone. Moving on to the next one. We have this bad boy, the Mammoth, or, I'm sorry, how its actual name is known, the C-17 winged Mammoth, but I just like to call it the Mammoth. When for shorthand in today's video, we'll be referring to it as the Mammoth. So here are the Mammoth stats. We can see an extremely strong air unit. I believe this was originally a tier 7, or actually, instead of me guessing, let's just get straight into the facts right here. It was, yes, it was originally a tier 7 in Boss Strike 9, and then later on was a tier 4 in Boss Strike 20, but it is an extremely powerful air unit with 3 attacks, a parachuting unit, which just drops a simple parachuter trooper that shoots down on the opponent, incendiary burst rounds, which are an air unit, this one right here. It is a AA move. It attacks other air units. It's meant to counter other air. And then finally, the Napalm Rise and Shine, which is basically just him going on there and dropping a small napalm, which does decent damage. Nothing to write home about, but certainly good damage. So a little few facts about this bad boy. The Rise and Shine is a reference to the movie Apocalypse Now, and the Mammoth is actually based off the real-life helicopter of Boeing V-22 Osprey, a VTOL combat transport helicopter in real life owned by the U.S. military. And as previously mentioned, it was obtainable in Tier 7 initially in Boss Strike 9, and then later on in Boss Strike 20, where all 10 tiers would be air units. Kind of like how I alluded to in the intro, the Boss Strikes did get progressively crazier as they went on. But yes, very good air unit, the Mammoth. We absolutely love you. And as much as I love the name Mammoth, I think this airplane earns the name Mammoth. It's that good. Moving on to the next airplane, we have something much less impressive, but nevertheless probably just as reliable for what it's used for. We have the Hurricane, or its official name, L60 Hawker Hurricane. Here's its stats from the official wiki. And it is mainly an AA unit, as it has 3 attacks, as we can see right here. I'm sorry, not 3 attacks, 2 attacks, my apology. No, it is 3 attacks. So apologies, I wrote that weirdly in my notes. It is primarily an AA unit, with its 2 main attacks being Scissors and Targeted Attack. Scissors being this spread attack right here, where it shoots in a column. Any air units in that column get damaged, of course, from center moving out. And then finally, its Targeted Attack, which is also another AA, this one being relatively powerful, and can actually one-shot some weaker air units. One very interesting fact about the Hawker Hurricane is it is actually seen in-game in the mission, gives them some flank, used by the enemy before players even had the chance to use it. So before we even had the chance to get this through Boss Strikes, we actually had the chance to fight it, and we had to take it down, which this isn't the only airplane in Battle Nations that does this, but it's one of like only a handful that does it. So I thought it was really cool the fact that we actually saw this as an anti-air enemy plane before we even got the chance to get it in Boss Strikes. It is named after the British Hawker Hurricane, a World War II British UK fighter. However, it bears no resemblance to the Hurricane. It is actually it looks identical to the Hawker Typhoon, another British class fighter that they used in World War II. So, interesting, it was named after a British fighter, but then identical to another British fighter by a different name. And then, ironically, there's another plane in Battle Nations called the Hawker, and we can get in that into part 2. And it's based off, well, I'm not going to get in that, but it's based off an entirely different plane, so it goes even further into it. And then finally, the Hawker Hurricane is included as a Tier 3 in Boss Strikes 2 and 5. So it's brought back 2 times and given to players in both those cases, staying at the same tier, Tier 3 for both of them. Overall, nothing to write home about. If you're going against a heavy plane user, it can be useful, but mainly most people, I'm speaking from personal experience, I had one from Boss Strike number 5, it mainly only ever really used this spray attack, and to be honest, the spray attack wasn't really good for most ground units. So as a person who really never fought air, it was one of my weaker planes, but I nevertheless still appreciated it. Moving on to, oh wow, this bad boy. So, a beautiful Z2 bomber, as it's known within the community, but its official name, Z2-18 bomber. So, here are its stats, and let's just get into this bad boy. This is one of the best bombers in all of Battle Nations. It is an amazing plane. I cannot give it enough praise. It has bombing runs, it has machine guns, and best of all, it has a carpet bomb. So a fun fact about this bomber, as soon as it hits rank 6, it gains a 100% chance of criticals. Now, I found that to be confirmed by multiple sources, and I remember this from the game itself. I genuinely remember this, like, personally. However, I can't argue, I can't say if this was a glitch or if this was intended by Battle Nations. All sources just say it was a 100% chance, but none of them say if it was a glitch or if it was intended by Battle Nations. So we don't know whether or not it was intended or not, but the fact of it stands for the entire game's run, once it hit rank 6, despite not being mentioned in the details in the game officially, it gained a 100% chance to crit permanently. So effectively doubling its damage forever on after rank 6. Its appearance is based off the Boeing B-29. The Boeing B-29 Super Fortress. However, it is named Z2 after, of course, Battle Nations maker Z2 Live. It was initially included as a Tier 10 in Boss Strike 3 and a Tier 2 in Boss Strike 20. I wanted to make sure I was reading that right. But Boss Strike 20 went crazy. They gave an airplane in every single tier, and this is a prime example of it. The amazing Z2 bomber, very well justified as a Tier 10 in Boss Strike 3 because of how amazing of a unit it is. Just one of the best airplanes in the entire game, being given away as a Tier 2 in Boss Strike 20. I would say people would have been mad about that, but I think a lot of the community kind of was seeing the writing on the wall at that point. And here are its attacks. This, believe it or not, is actually the machine gun. This isn't the bombing. This isn't the bombing runs. This is the machine gun. This is the bombing run, a single indirect target on a ground unit. The machine gun, this is the air attack. This, and again, because I keep looking at it, I want to make sure I was correcting myself. I just looked at my notes. It is correct. This is the machine gun attack, the 24 damage in center, and then 31 on each sides. And then this is the carpet bomb, 63 straight on one tile. I kind of think those should be backwards, but no. That is how it is. The carpet bomb is for ground units. The machine gun is anti-air, so that's probably why it's stronger and hits more units to make it more effective as an anti-air. And the carpet bomb, obviously, is just dropping a bomb on the ground unit. That's super helpful. You got to make it a little weaker, understandable when you look at it from that perspective. And yeah, it's 63 damage. But, of course, best for last, the carpet bomb, where, yeah, it was basically like the legendary Mammoth's roar. It just hit the entire opposing field. Anything besides any enemy air got hit. So, beautiful attack. And finally, moving on to maybe I will admit, something I didn't have personally, but I'll admit does rival it. Of course, skybus. Skybus, by its official name, AD7 Bigfoot skybus, has 645 health, and all of its stats right there. For some reason, it's glitching on my screen. I want to make sure my screen recorder is still working. All right, still is fantastic. And here's Skybus on stats from the official Battle Nations wiki. And let's jump into the facts that we know about, the note facts. So it is mainly a supportive aircraft, and unlike most Boss Strike aircrafts, it actually gets more valuable as the game goes on. So it starts off relatively weak in earlier rankings. However, as the game progresses, it will get stronger and stronger. Its attacks are the parachuter, exploding package, and the bore barrel roll. The parachuter right here at 153 damage to one particular unit. The the bomb at a field strike of, don't remember it having 33% accuracy. That seems to be something, I'm not sure if that's accurate, but I mean, yeah, it's obviously in the picture here, so I don't think the game's animation would lie. So yeah, 33% attack on all tiles, or chance to hit, so a good chance to miss, 66%. And then finally, of course, the bore, where it would drop a bore down, hit 122 center, and then 24 on both sides. But going back to it, so again, all three good attacks, parachuter, exploding package, and bore barrel roll. Its name and appearance is based off the C-42 cargo plane, used mainly by the U.S. military in World War II. Fun fact about the skybus, it had a visual glitch in 2v2, or I'm sorry, not 2v2, 1v1, I was thinking of two players. It had a visual glitch in 1v1, where if you look at the opponent's Bigfoot skybus, it's missing 75% of its pellets. It's missing the majority of its pellets, only a quarter of them load in. So it's had to have been a visual glitch. There's almost no reason you can justify it had it been intentional. Just a weird visual glitch. Had no effect on actual gameplay. Just a small animation glitch when looking at an opponent's Bigfoot skybus in PvP. And I'm pretty sure the only way to see it is in PvP. So if you could have seen an enemy skybus by AI, I'm sure it would have had the same glitch. It was probably just a glitch with its animation. But the only way to naturally see it would have been 2v2. And finally, it was a tier 10 in Boss Strike 7, rightfully so. And then I, as well as everybody, got it in tier 3 in Boss Strike 20. Yeah, a lot of unpackage there with that Boss Strike 20, but as you can see, again, same thing as for the last one though. Was it justified as a tier 10 in Boss Strike 7? 100%. This thing was amazing. All of its attacks, beautiful. Its napalm was a beautiful attack. Its bore, it's a beautiful ground unit, and its parachuter was its main damage dealer. Probably the best thing that would put it over, if I had to say one thing that put over the bomber, even as a bomber man, somebody who loves bomber, I'll admit it probably ranks up better. Even though bomber hits permanent crits at rank 6, Bigfoot skybus will gain more stats and give you more options later on as it ranks up, and will be a better support later on as it gets into later ranks. So competitively, even as a bomber main, a Z2 bomber main, I'll admit Bigfoot skybus does have the benefit of late game progression. And that will just about do it for us today, guys. Yeah, just starting to get into the groove of things. About 4 recordings into this, and I was just like, man, got to make the next one hit. So hope this one came out pretty well. And I'm really sorry about that marking at like I think it was the 14-minute mark, where I just completely cut out for like a good 4 seconds there. But I think it was a good video back, and tomorrow we're going to either have, again, the Boss Strike video, whether you guys want that, or something else. By all means, if you guys would like to see any specific Battle Nations comment, as always, please comment it down below, and I would love to make it for you guys. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new and you liked what you see here today. If you did, please leave a like down below. And that will just about do it for us today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day.